Good morning, everybody. Start something new this morning. Did some studies on white blood cells. I'll show the little study that I've got right here. Hopefully you can see that okay. It's gonna be a little dark, but these are supposed to be the white blood cells that in the, lower this right quick. That in leukemia, the white blood cells accumulate when they're being formed in the spine and the bone marrow of the spine. White blood cells, there will be an abnormal amount of white blood cells, immature white blood cells. So they're not like mature when they're fighting bacteria or infection, but just because the abnormality from radiation or some other cause. But in any case, that's when they detect leukemia, is because the body is producing too many white blood cells versus red blood cells, and then it just gets all sort of bad. In any case, I decided that I was going to do that as a background in this painting and into the butterfly painting. So I did two studies. I did this one. This is my old notebook. And then this one for the next one. They're going to be within their own color palettes, of course. But we shall see how it looks, because it's going to be a lot of purple. Whether you can see me or not, here or there. I'm gonna raise camera up a little bit so you can actually see me, God forbid. Just got a white pen. Just gonna start drawing circles on this darn thing with my study. The key to these white blood cells is that they're immature because their nucleus, the center, is really full. So I'm just going to mark off that that's going to be a white blood cell. And they're not all going to be the same size, but I want to mark off that they're and this is going to be a lot of purple, so I'm trying to balance this out. I want to show that it's in the background and not on these people. But we're also going to get a bunch of little red blood cells as well, and platelets. I just want to do part of them because the picture is going off of the screen. And whether I do them right, they're kind of generalized, but and yes, I tend to use a lot of markers and pens to kind of draw out what I want. And I have raised this canvas up a little bit more so that I can actually work. And I'll try to incorporate some underneath so that it looks like it's continuing underneath and behind the people. So it almost flattens them. Key is that body is overwhelmed by these. The whole point of me doing hopefully the volume is good, the blood cells, the white blood cells is, well, this was the cancer that I had when I was going through this chemotherapy. And what the chemotherapy does, it's a set of medicines that will kill I believe it's the DNA from the different cells. Prevent them from dividing. It literally kills everything. And so what happens is they put it all over the body so that it kills all these cells which get everywhere into the body, because then they can metastasize, go to your organs, go to your spine, and it just gets out of control. And what ends up happening is that it doesn't only just kill the cancer cells. The hair loss comes because the chemotherapy kills the living good cells that help produce the follicles, that help encourage new hair growth, and oftentimes the hair ends up becoming brittle and finer, and then you also end up breaking, and then that's when you lose all your hair. And some people don't lose all their hair. Some people just lose some hair. Some people lose hair all over their bodies. But I think I just lost my hair off of my head. And they say that the chemotherapy, the medicines, you can lose the hair. They expect you to lose the hair within 1 to 2 weeks of the treatment starting. Okay. So I'll stand back to see how I like the spots. And right now they're kind of gathered on the ends, and so I want to make sure I add some here. And they're all about the same shape, but so a little stylized, but that's okay. Stylized isn't bad. And I've got all these little red dots as well. And those are supposed to be the normal cells. So your normal blood cells and platelets that form in the blood. These are all pieces of your blood, as far as I understand it. And these are going to be all the really, really red pieces. So this is going to make up all these colors. And these you could be a little bit more generous. And I'll probably change them again anyway. And I'm kind of just loosely the idea is that the red blood cells often can be in a low count as well. The next painting that I'm working on has me getting my CBC. It's a something blood count? Cell blood count? I'm not sure, but anyway, so they, after each initial treatment, from what I was reading, they count your blood cells, your the counts of your red blood cells, your platelets, your white blood cells, to see if the numbers are going up and down like they should, because they're in a healthy human body, they should have certain thousands of counts. And they can also tell if you're going to become anemic, which means your blood is low, red blood cells are low, which actually that ended up to me, but that's another story. So it's just, well, I'm ranting. But anyway, the next painting is me getting my blood drawn for one of those CBCs. And the nurses used to tell me, well, these are butterflies. And the butterfly needles are a thinner gauge of needle they tend to use for pediatrics, geriatrics, for children and elderly, because their veins tend to be much smaller. And then for people whose veins are really hard to get at. Try to clump some together so it's not so... because not everything's going to be the same, so... I'm going to put some off the center. And then what I'll do is once I get this kind of started, I can push and pull the space more to show that they're against the background. Oh, I didn't put any here. That'll be a white blood cell. Beneath my butt, I'm sitting on a white blood cell. You gotta use some sort of humor with this darn thing. So this will be right towards the beginning of my treatment when I still had all my fine hair. Look at it again. Back up. And then a lot of the open space will be pretty useful. Now I'm using this marker instead of paint because, well, it's kind of immediate. I just want the drawing on there. And pencil tends to not show up as well. So I don't have to constantly erase, constantly erase. Sounds like country going on right now. A lot of times I'll like to keep checking back to make sure that it looks pretty well distributed but not too cluttered. It doesn't always work out that way, but you know. And sometimes too I'll go in and start making corrections if like I feel like that my head is weird shaped. It's such frustration with drawing my younger self. So that's why this face has changed so much. Right. My face right now looks like it's caved in onto the side, so I went back in and shaped that back there. So I'll know to go back and fix it again. On that note, I think I will paint white blood cells. I think I like these. It would help if I took the mute off. Not only the painting, I like to pre-mix a color that I go to, what was it, Golden does a online color mixer where you can input the color that the paints that you're using and try to tweak it to be the color that you want. Or you could upload a picture or put in different hexadecimal codes. And what it'll do is that it'll pull the paints up for you that you need, and you can tweak the ratios, figure out what you need for mixes and everything. Well, I uploaded one of the pictures for the colors and realized that I have one of the colors, quinacridone, I can never pronounce it, red. And although I was supposed to use like a magenta, I still have quinacridone. It tends to be kind of a pinkish color. So I'm going to use that to kind of mark in red with a little bit of white. Alright, acrylic flow. So I've only got a little bit of paint, but essentially it's going to expand all these little dots I've got all over the place, except this white. I'm not afraid that the white's gonna expand or something. Let's see what white. There's my trusty palette knife that I use for every mixing. Now, a lot of these paints that I have are old paints from when I was in school. So, paints usually don't last forever, but sometimes they kind of do last a while. So, it was kind of a stroke of luck today when I pulled the paint out and discovered it hadn't hardened like a rock. Because that's how often I use them. Ooh, that's a pretty pink. Why have I never used this red before? I'm a little too partial to cadmiums. Apparently, the truth is that I need to use more quinacridone. In fact, I'm gonna pull more out. Ta-ha! Why didn't I use this color before? I don't know. Too many preferences to one particular shade. But what I've got is, I've got Dio Purple, Dioxazine, Deep Magenta, which is also kind of a pink, and an Ultramarine Violet, which is kind of transparent. So I'll put those on the side here so I have my handy dandy wash rag here. Actually, I'm just gonna do this. There we go. Hopefully this is enough paint. Worst comes to worst. I had some acrylic primer and extender. Just what it sounds like. And of course it's dried up on the top. So I have to peel off the little piece that dries. I swear this is all Christian music. It doesn't sound bad, just not what I was used to listening to right now. Or what I was expecting to listen to. Actually, I'm gonna take a smaller brush. Ugh, it's still red. Alright, I'm gonna start at the top, actually, and work my way down so that when I'm leaning against the painting, I'm not gonna get paint all over me. So, try to get some of these that you can see. Oh, that's actually a hotter pink than I thought it was gonna be. Or whatever, we'll do with it. Go live. It's my painting, I'll do what I want. This is like Mattel pink. Now I know that I have Mattel pink. Notice it's a little see-through because of the extender. That's okay. So I just want to mark where all these are. I don't need them to be super opaque right now. Go. Oh, you're not just looking at my palette. Still new to this streaming thing. Now, I'd go around and make these pink, but those are supposed to be their own color. So I'm gonna leave those be. Now, I don't pretend to be a nurse, so any of the information that I have given you, if it's found to be slightly incorrect or so incorrect, I might have misinterpreted some of the stuff that I was reading online. It's just my memory sometimes gets a little flaky. So, but I have no nursing degree or anything. I've just been doing research at the good old-fashioned library and on Google. kind of how these things work, to understand myself at a younger age, which fortunately back then I didn't really get what was going on. It might just look like Pink just puked up all over here. Goodness knows it looks like Pepto-Bismol to me. Ugh. I could tell you, one of the other side effects of chemo, other than hair loss, nausea, vomiting, fatigue. Generally, you just feel like crap because I mean, it's suppressing your immune system, it's destroying cells inside your body, and but because I had all the nausea and the stomach upset, my mom would give me Pepto-Bismol. I just remember taking Pepto-Bismol a lot as a kid, and that's what this color reminds me of. And it was just really gross. So I can't drink anything that is remotely strawberry flavored. Not strawberry, I love strawberries, mind you. It's just a certain flavor. If it reminds me of Pepto-Bismol, I feel like a gag reflex to this day. Amazing considering I was like 4 or 5 when I was going through all this, so. Okay, I did miss some up at the top over here. I'm gonna make that for one of the dots. Thought about turning parts of the crown into the blood cell dots, but I wasn't sure about that yet. Oh, I missed some right here. You gotta include parts of the background in the under the armpits. Okay, up there we go. Okay, I can sit down now that I don't have a worry of. Now, this private moment with my mother, I honestly don't remember. So this memory is just based off a little statement that my mom had told me once. A couple years back when my father was passing from lung cancer. There we go. And probably could just see the top of my head now. Pardon me while I adjust. There we go. Now I can see you. But Mom had told me that she remembers when I was going through the chemo and how she remembers the first day that my hair started to fall out. She was brushing my hair, and she cried as hairs were coming out in clumps into the hairbrush and into her hands. But I don't remember it at all. Like, I don't remember feeling bothered by it. The only times I felt really bothered by the hair loss was back when my brother would tease me. So I don't know if it's just because my brother was jealous because he was a little bit older and I was getting all the attention because I was sick. But he would say things like, I looked like Fire Marshal Bill, which, if you're in my generation, you watched In Living Color. That was a character played by actor Jim Carrey, who was this fireman with almost no hair, scraggly little hair, and he was just, well, he was insane. If you know Jim Carrey, he was nuts. But he'd always say things like, let me tell you something. But as a kid, it always made me mad when my brother would call me that. I don't know why, because I love Fire Marshal Bill, but it always made me upset. Like, call me Baldy, and call me all sorts of... But that was the worst of it that I didn't like, you know, because brothers and sisters and siblings, they tend to make fun of each other and do whatever, you know? But it might have been his way of coping with what was going on with his family. It wasn't a good year that year for my family, unfortunately. Add another couple. Couple blood cells there. Yeah, this is Mattel pink. Well, I mean Mattel, I mean Barbie pink. Because Mattel makes Barbie. At least the last I checked, they made Barbie. It's funny enough, my computer is actually Mattel pink. It's actually a brighter pink than this, which I think is amazing. And I'm not saying it's one of those PC towers that's like mostly black and with a little bit of pink. No, this whole thing is pink, and it's amazing. Alrighty, let's done with this first part. It's a Cranberries cover. These are all covers. How are these not covers? You know, I won't ask. Oh no, it's not. It's just got the same chords. Interesting. It's a song. Okay. Now I might add an additional color on top of these just to give them a little bit more depth and a little bit more opaqueness. And so they stand out from this yellow red that I've got going on right now. Okay. almost out of paint, which is fine because I'm using all this paint here in one sitting. Just to get this set up here. Okay. That's pretty good. As always, want to make sure you wash your brush enough. It does look like Pepto-Bismol. Ugh. Sorry, I don't mind my face. Just don't like Pepto-Bismol that much. It's even. No wonder why I never use that color. Okie dokie. Now, last I saw, I could have used a white with this blue. Since I don't have any blue in my palette, it's going to be tricky. I don't want to just use straight purple again. So I'm going to try this deep magenta, see what it looks like with some white. I don't know how I can bring out the blueness in the blue. It's a challenge of this with painting. Because right now this deep magenta is kind of a reddish purple, and I need more of a purple or bluish purple. I don't have any blue in my palette. What I might end up having to do, the only way I've been cheating to get a blue is this Paint Spray, which is a bluish, you know, I might say F it and just use this magenta and try it, you know, at least get to the outline, see how it works. Okay, let's try to add acrylic fluid release and retarder. It's amazing to think that these acrylic mediums that I have, the retarder and the acrylic for release, I've actually had since college. Again, I've had materials for a long time, but I haven't painted quite as often as I should have, so I haven't consumed them as much, because you would literally only need a dot to help break apart the paint. Gosh, that's a really nice purple. I'm kind of scared to add pink to it. We should see. Ooh, no, that's nice. I get happy when I see a nice color. It's like, ooh, pretty color. Unfortunately, that's not a lot of color to get me through. So what I might do is add a gel medium if I can find it. Not seeing it on my desk. I will make do with primer then. So that's the whole point of Extender, is to extend the paint. Although it's going to kind of be see-through again because of the nature of it. The whole point of the mediums is to extend your usage of them so that you don't have to use as much paint to do things, because paint's expensive. Mediums are kind of pricey too, but yeah. Using a crap ton of titanium white is not as bad as using a crap ton of like gel medium, I think. And with this one, I'm going to use a bigger brush. Still a round, but a bigger brush. And again, I'm going to work in the top and move down. So hopefully you can see me painting from top down. And see, this needs to be more purple, but it's not a bad color to start with, so. So I'm kind of tracing around this yellow here. I need to be careful. fading it so it's not so sharp. So it's supposed to be in a body. Go. Now this one I'm actually going to run out of paint fairly quickly, so I'll have to make more, which is fine. As long as I can get most of these started. And this I'm just going to paint over the little things that I have. Paint top down. Last thing I want is to get paint all over me. Alright, now that I got the top down, this one's going to be a little tricky because it's going in here. This paint. So I have to be careful and mark around. There we go. Well, looks like I need more magenta. I'm gonna end up using a lot more than I wanted right there for a second. Use the rest of that white. I should really zoom out with this camera. Don't forget the retarder. Come on now. Thank you. Alrighty. See, this is more opaque than it was before because I don't have as much extender in it. So I'll just go back into these. Make them a little bit more opaque. At the top. All right. All right. Back down. Let me get some of that pink color back in there. A lot of times I'll press the brush against the canvas alongside because all of my pink is on the top of the bristles. Like this. So at least I get some of that pigment out of the top. It doesn't get wasted, all the paint's at the bottom. Part can definitely be more pink. Whew. Just only got a few more. We're down at the bottom and on the sides. The idea of putting things in like corners and half off the painting is to kind of help draw your eye into the painting. Because then it looks like the image continues outside of the piece, or outside of the frame. About enough for this one. This one I'm gonna kind of fade into this black so it doesn't just cut in. It looks like I'm sitting on the cell. Got those laid in. I'm gonna get all this purple out of my paintbrush. One of these days I'll really adjust this camera to where you can actually see me as opposed to just being zoomed super in. So. I'm going to take a moment to back up and look at this because it's hard to see how things look when you're super up close on top of it. Alrighty. Yeah, it's really made a difference for me. I like that it's moving around. Hopefully it doesn't detract too much from the portrait. Just adds to the piece. So what I'll probably do is add a little bit more of this, maybe some of this red ochre into parts of the red blood cells. And maybe some of this dark purple in there with the purple, or with the Payne's Gray. Whew, so without further ado, let me start doing that. Let me do rather than talk, shall I? I should be more entertaining, but... Okay. This purple work? That's a very purple purple. try it. I'll try the ultramarine violet. It's not as black as the dioxazine purple, which is deep. I don't want deep, so lay down my reference. You are Burnt Umber, you are not Payne's Gray. You are Payne's Gray. It's gonna be tight to open because all the paint on the ends. There we go. Stuff's pretty dense, pretty overwhelming as a color. So you gotta be careful with mixing it in. I have to get some more white before this is done. Push this down. Grab my chair. I think I'm gonna play some different music if y'all don't mind. Just hunch my right back here to my. I want some hip hop today. There we go. Not really the one that give God praise. You got the gospel and tell me how it tastes. Hallelujah. Alrighty. It's not a matter of whether or not you can play, but a scale of if you can. So add a little bit of the titanium white with the with Payne's Gray, so it's kind of like a blue jean color. I'm just gonna add purple to that. See how it looks. It's kind of grayed out right now, so I'll just end up the Payne's Gray to it. This might actually end up being too gray. Might have been better off just leaving it as ultramarine purple, but I wanted to incorporate some of the colors that I'm using in like the jeans to move this color around the painting so it feels a little bit more unified. Okay. Now I need my retarder. And my acrylic flow release makes it more easy to brush, since a lot of these paints are heavy body. So the mixture of the paints tends to be thicker. They're meant for more palette knife work. They have a soft body. Liquitex has soft body and Golden has their fluid. With me myself, I like the heavy body paints. I like the versatility. It's like with the fluid, you can't get them to be thicker again, you know? They're just fluid. Whereas the thick, you can use them as thick, or then you could just thin them to make them fluid. So it seems a little bit more versatile to me. Alrighty. Now we shall see how this works. And hopefully it works well. My dirty rag go. Alright. Now same as before and start from the top up. Hopefully you can see me. So let's see how that. It's pretty purple. It's not bad. Not my favorite. But I'll kind of go with it and see how it looks like over all of it. Not sure how I like that. Kind of just do it on the outside ends and see how it. See, again, that Payne's Gray just really takes over. But I haven't had a chance to really step back and look, so I'm gonna keep trying it, see how it looks overall, because it's kind of hard to gauge something when you only use a little bit of it, so. It's just supposed to give those little cell bodies a little bit more body. Taking some of that back. Put too much in that one. There we go. Go. Key is to kind of define the nuclei. Oh. I'm kind of going back and forth on these just so that I don't make them completely purple. I don't want to lose that nice light purple that I got in there. Get that. What I could also do is to go back and just take a little bit of water, thin it out a little. Missed any? Yep, I missed one. Oopsies. Almost missed this guy. Can't miss him too. He's kind of right next to the portrait, so I can't miss him. All right. A lot of times I'll go back in and just add a little bit of water to make it a little bit more brush friendly. Trying to be extra careful in here because I don't want to lose completely what I've worked on over there. Same with over right here. So I'll try to get in with the brush. Try to draw along the line. And what's nice with using a little bit of water, I can scumble some of the paint away and make it less thick. I kind of transition it a little bit. I once heard an art teacher say you shouldn't rely on scumbling to blend things. And this, I'm not going to mention it because you know every teacher teaches differently and what they feel. So, I myself, I love scumbling. I like using it as a blending tool and it works for me. But she told her students that don't scumble. You can't rely on scumbling. You gotta make all the colors and da-da-da-da-da. And I don't agree with that because I think with scumbling you can kind of stretch the colors over each other and make it blend through thin layers, just like glazes, which are just thinned paint. So you're essentially thinning the paint. But in any case, but this same woman was telling them it was okay to use their finger to blend, and I was always told in school that that was a no. Oh, I missed one. Don't mind me, ADD. That it was a no-no to actually blend with your finger. To blend with your finger because it is bad for the piece, because the oils in your fingers can break down the paper over time. Some of these I might add a little bit more purple to. Oh, I missed one. See what I mean about missing these things? Alright. Make some of them heavier, like this one. Same with this one, add a little bit more. Okay. Alrighty. I'm gonna add a little bit of white to this, or probably a lot of white to kind of create the body that's around the white blood cell. See how it looks. This is supposed to be a lightened version. Now this might not actually be enough paint to go to all the pieces that I have, so I'll probably make more. And I might go through and vary it so I can have some of the other pieces include, there we go. I just have to grab.
Yo, that was the evidence joint you just played, right? Yeah, that was becoming one of my favorite MCs out there right now. Shout out to Ev, the whole Dilated crew. Let's get back into some music.
And I'm on the evidence project too.
Yo, microphone check 1, 2. Yo, who's the one that's been running the race? Who's the one that's been running in place? And who's the one you try to find so tough, but the whole time I'm sitting right in front of your face? I'm on another level, I mean another label. Players don't die, we try luck at other tables. And when I lose, I learn I'm still winning major. I jump forward and back and through the missing stages. A perfect day to make a perfect entrance. A perfect sentence I can't perfect, but I just keep pushing pencils. No fake trace stencils. Do it all by hand so they have respect. I know the feeling when you're dealing with accomplishments. Wishing they would diss you instead of giving compliments. That's what made you who you are, know what you became. Part of being a star is getting burnt in flames. Kinda filled the minds of
Alright, gotta go up to the top so if you can't see me, I apologize.
Who's the one that's been running the race? Who's the one that's been running in place? And who's the one you tried to find so tough, but the whole time I'm sitting right in front of your face? Now I'm set, ready to check. Now I'm set, ready to check.
Okay, got those. Oh. Whew.
shot the sheriff but didn't steal his rifle. I can't define what's real and what's imagination. Since I signed that deal before my graduation, I went from running track and field. The tracks were filled, the Grammys with yay before late registration. Who's the one that's been running the race? Who's the one that's been running in place? And who's the one you tried to find so tough, but the whole time was sitting right in front of your face? Now I'm set, ready to jet. Now I'm set, ready to jet. Now I'm set, ready to jet. Fast forward, no kids, one card, no rollie, one crib, trips to Chile, one cushion, a film. Every journey starts with one step, that's on me. One foot in front of the other, like come on feet. One life, one love, that a G for one glove. For Mike, rest in peace, shot a bullet from one snub. I keep it pushing as one does. You only get one shot, one glance, one chance, and one buzz. One never knows what hopes and dreams. The farther we fly, the closer it seems. Back to the one square. All I need in this life is one snare. One mic, direct flight tonight, one airs. One of a kind, so one to my grind. One time for your motherfucking mind.
Okay. Getting through it, getting through it.
But you just lost. Who's the one that's been running the race? Who's the one that's been running?
This has been a nice change of pace from working on the damn portrait sections. Try to scumble it into the piece to get this around. And I will also get onto this other end. I said I was gonna transition this piece, but I might just say F it and around it. Because what I can always do is go do a shadow over this again. Okay, I think I got all of those. Nope. How did I miss that one completely? I somehow missed this one completely. Oh, whatever. Because it's little.
Coded for the massacre when it occurs. I ain't condoning it. Best believe I'm owning them furs from when it pops off. Days wait, nights even longer.
I wonder if I have enough here to... Aha! I had enough on my rag. So I'm gonna go with a darker purple at some point and tweak those. Not perfect. Whatever. A lot of times I'll go through, scum it up a little bit. It's not so sharp on the ends. I did miss one. Hello, missed you, buddy. You're not getting away. Right? Alright.
I take my time with it. I take forever. Shit sick of working that clever. Let's skip ahead to the next, pushing my own limits. I make it better. Ain't no one touching my future. Ain't no one fuck with my old shit yet. Ain't sitting aspiring since last we met. Can't forget that dirty crew. That's how we split that space. Cadet that dumb that make that place. Forget they worry. Let they reason wiggle clean. We come in bent with a smooth.
Now to really integrate the background with the foreground, I'll have to add some of this yellow a little bit in the pieces that are nearby to show that the crowns are kind of glowing. Oh, and vice versa, has some of this purple come down onto the shadow of the skin.
And acting rich in a shaky and fake economy might make the indicator the award show snappy.
It's bothering me, it's too... That was too perfect. There we go. There we go. Oh, much better. It was too perfect. If all of them were going to be perfect, they need to be all consistent, so... I think I'm going to go in with a darker red. Probably that ochre color. Check on something right quick.
Martial art me? Shit, can't go 2 blocks. All you do is win, huh? Boner jam, spam, let them sprawl with that end. I'ma lash at them. Animus, cannibal, pugilistic, to spit. Future on with and let my pen wrangle it. Manhandle nonsense. Can't fake away your fangs, sucker. Leave you shit on stang, pest fake.
I'm trying to check the golden color mixer that I was telling you about. It's ultramarine blue. But it wasn't loading very well earlier to give me the colors that I was hoping for. Okay. Now it's giving me white, I'm clicking on the blue. I'm gonna do it live. Naphthol Crimson. I think that is a red. It's a bright orange red. Okay, hi red oxide, I'm gonna use you. Let's see how well these mix. Actually, that's a nice red. We'll go with it. It's a red. Now I'll have to go back into the background and either make it lighter or go into the foreground and make it darker. More colorful release.
When I listen to the radio, it be like Comedy Central. I wanna be gentle, but I got to come and drop the bomb on me. Simple, so honestly, sent to the bottom. Sonically mental, I'ma be into place in the big canonically simple. Bang,
use a smaller brush. Alright, again, start at the top. I got Naphthol red, crimson, and red oxide mixed. No white this time, just kind of red. Now, kind of just blend into the background. So either I need to make it darker or make it brighter. Because otherwise it just kind of hides into the background because the Naphthol red was used in the background. I think I need to use a brighter red. Or I can add white. Which I already have here, so. White it is. See how that looks. There we go. There we go. Now, I'm not going to try to make all of these crazy perfect or exactly the same because it's just, you know, blood cells, so they can have their own definition and such. Which is supposed to be the... I'll probably add a darker purple or just straight red oxide to get it a darker color. We shall see how it looks so far. See, it's more opaque than it used to be.
Yeah, perfect. I never understood a lot, cause it didn't need a lot, have a lot. So I never cared a lot. Stumbled through a black hole and ended up in Camelot. JFK had his head and he never got shot.
Now, unfortunately, some of these areas are going to be a little bit lost. I'm probably going to have to add even more white, which I really would rather not do, but you kind of do what you gotta do. So the idea is to try to add a darker color, not a lighter color. Right now they kind of match a little too close to the background, so I don't want them getting lost. What I can do is that once it's pretty much dry, I'll go back in with a liquid Frisket, and I'll block out all of the circles and pretty much a lot of the area. And once that dries, just paint areas of the background, paint over it, make it darker. And then once that's dried, then remove all the Frisket, so I have nice clean edges. Save me from having to paint around everything repeatedly. Just to give you an idea, the liquid Frisket's what this stuff is in yellow. I was able to block in some of the colors. You know, the part where I'm most concerned is in these lighter areas here. Right now, these are too similar to each other. It's more like a salmon color. Alrighty. I think they like money.
Money on my motherfucking mind. Cut 5 haircuts at the same time. White gold pants, jet ski,
I think this is Aesop Rock.
Busted Albert Einstein. Get money. Money at my motherfucking mouth. A mansion, a ranch, and a camp in a town. A motherfucking store with the floor made of scalps. Bobby from the block don't got rocks, he got out. Get money. Money in a motherfucking jar. Shark fin pastry, summers on Mars. 20 motherfuckers in a levitating car. 747 full of women and cigars. Get money. Money in a motherfucking pot. A castle full of cars and a yard full of yachts. A leopard with a mink and an arm full of clocks. All hand wound every day by a spot. Get money.
Change that one a little bit.
Money is a motherfucking joke. 40 bald eagles sewn into a coat. Zoo with the crib, mermaid in the moat. Buy another strip mall every day. No, get money. Money ain't a motherfucking bribe. It's a sport I invented to win when I watch. And know all the rights and the lights and the locks. Even know all the ice and the Sprite you just dropped. Get money. Money of your motherfucking life. 2-ton angel carved out of ice. Alligator sailboat, dollar sign ice. Fill a warehouse full of Van Goghs twice. Get money. Money or your motherfucking heart. I could give it to my dog. He makes money when he barks. So put it in my fridge or in one of my parks that I bought. So my robots can learn how to love. Get money.
We're kind of just going through and filling all these dawn circles. Changing the look of some of them. I'm almost around to the end, so that's good. I see there's a lot of darks in the lower right hand corner that make it easy for these to pop versus over here where it's super light. So what I'm probably have to do is take this dark red, get that diode purple, and match it. So otherwise you can't see any of these.
So if I run up with a mask on, probably got a gas can too. And I'm not here to fill her up. No, we came to riot, here to incite. We don't want any of your stuff. Keep sticking to the script, man.
But I might take a moment to think about it. I don't know if I want to do all that. And then make it all. Because what I don't want to end up happening is ending up putting a darker color in these, and then those ones don't have any dark color. And then it doesn't feel balanced. Because I don't want to go through and start mixing and mixing and mixing paints and then wasting. I might have to let this rest a bit before I figure out what I'm gonna do.
genuinely believe that all of your shit is fake. Understand my whole crew's on some shit. Scuffing up your Nikes, spitting on your whip, kicking out your DJ. Rocket, then we
Yeah, I think I'll let it rest. Because for right now, I've gotten, not sure if you can see this, but I've gotten all the little white blood cells in there. I want to work on the next painting, which is the yellow painting that has the it'll have butterflies throughout, but it'll also have these little red blood cells, but its color palette is different, so it'll look slightly different. It's a little bit more limited. This one has all the reds and the purples. On my screen it's showing you the color. On the other one, it's kind of hard to see, but on this one, there's a line drawn over here, so I can use any one of these colors, but none of these. But on the yellow one, this purple triangle is all the colors I can use. So I got this cadmium yellow orange, which will be interesting to make the red, because all I have is a alizarin reddish purple. Ooh, excuse me. And cobalt green and all my neutrals. Oh my goodness. The tricky part of being an artist is working and then trying to find a point to stop and work on the next part without overworking it. Well, I hope you guys had a good one watching me put in white blood cells and red blood cells and platelets into this painting. Once I figure out how I'm going to fix this darn thing, I will stream a little bit more, so you can follow along. And, if you'd like to see more, please follow. You'll show me live most days at 9:30. I have my schedule posted below. And I'll try to tell stories. If you ask questions, I will try to answer them for you. So, you guys have a good one.